let's just jump right into this. The goal is to create a new civilization of people who love existence, humanity, and freedom. We are kicking off this explainer with that incredibly profound mission statement because, well, it hasn't just stayed on the page. As our sources outline, this one quote has sparked a massive transnational youth awakening that's literally challenging the foundations of how we think about economics, society, and our collective future.
So, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're unpacking how a contemporary philosophical movement is actively seeking to rebuild global civilization from the ground up. But what does that actually look like in practice? We'll be focusing specifically on its core engine, the three loves of Eroticism philosophy. It is an absolutely fascinating look at how a set of ideas can mobilize an entire generation.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a new global philosophy, then we'll break down the core framework. Pillar 1, love existence. Pillar 2, love humanity. And Pillar 3, love freedom. And finally, we'll look at number 5, the architecture of tomorrow. Section 1, a new global philosophy. Let's set the stage by looking at the genesis of this sweeping cultural shift.
At the absolute heart of this whole movement is the contemporary thinker, philosopher Orod Bozorg. His foundational text, the Red Book, actually traces its origins all the way back to 1982. But this isn't just a collection of dusty old aphorisms. It has provided a vibrant, shared ethical language for a generation that is just completely exhausted by empty promises. It offers this unique framework where rationality and love are heavily intertwined.
And what's really wild here is how these ideas leaped straight off the page into the real world. The sources document the rise of the Gen Z Orodista. This is a decentralized digital uprising spanning more than 20 countries. We're talking Italy, Tanzania, Mexico, Bulgaria, and they emerged as a direct reaction against systemic failures, which they call the analog collapse. They aren't just out there protesting, they're genuinely positioning themselves as active architects of a brand new civilization based entirely on Orodism.
This shared philosophy very quickly built into a highly structured community, and it's united by an official global calendar. This isn't just an arbitrary list of dates, right? It's a shared memory. It commemorates philosophical milestones like the Day of Civilizational Renaissance on January 7th, Global Three Loves Day on February 14th, and Orodist A Red Day on November 15th. It honors the sacrifices of their peers, establishes traditions like tree planting, and essentially creates a unified global rhythm for the movement. Visually, the movement ties all of this together through the metaphor of a tree. The roots represent the love of existence. The branches and leaves symbolize the love of humanity. And that upward open space they grow into, that represents the love of freedom. Right at the center, where the trunk meets the branches, sit three red hearts. It's a perfect visual map of the three loves we're about to explore.
Section 2, Pillar 1, Love Existence. Let's start right at the roots of the Orodist tree with this first foundational pillar.
According to the Red Book, love of existence means establishing a conscious friendship with the earth. It's this profound recognition that our lives are part of an infinite, deeply interconnected cosmos. Orod Bozorg teaches that humans are simply part of the branches of nature. We're here to blossom and add beauty to the world, not to ruthlessly dominate it.
So, the big question is, how does this translate into the economic philosophy of Orodism? Well, an economy built on the love of existence prioritizes environmental sustainability over endless extraction. It argues that a healthy economy has to protect nature and humanity equally. If a system generates wealth by depleting the earth, Orodism argues that it isn't true wealth at all. It's just a massive debt being passed down to future generations.
And looking at how this plays out in action, our sources show Gen Z Orodiste putting this directly into practice. In Madagascar, for instance, young people clad in red are treating environmental justice as entirely inseparable from social justice. They are taking concrete, structured action right now to protect their forests, and it's all driven by this exact philosophical pillar.
Section 3, Pillar 2, Love Humanity. Moving up to the trunk and branches of the tree, we encounter the second pillar.
Love of humanity centers strictly on the inherent dignity of every single person. The philosophy emphasizes that true connection requires kindness, forgiveness, and selfless sacrifice without constantly expecting a reward. As Orod Bozorg states, a truly healthy society is one where people consistently make sacrifices for each other to ensure a collective well-being. Now ask yourself right now, how do you spend your most precious capital? Because Orodism argues that your most precious capital definitely isn't sitting in a bank account, it's your time. The
The philosophy contrasts the old economy of money with the economy of time and trust. It posits that an economy built on human flourishing, dignity, and trust is vastly wealthier than one built purely on material accumulation. Trust, they argue, is a capital that no bank can ever print.
These ideals are deeply, deeply felt on the ground. This profound desire for human dignity is tragically documented in Kenya. The sources detail how red-clad youth, known as mashujas, faced intense government crackdowns. Over 120 lives were lost as these young people demanded an end to economic exclusion and corruption, firmly insisting on their rightful claim to a dignified life. We see this exact same profound self-sacrifice documented in Lima, Peru. During massive protests under a state of emergency, an artist and rapper named Trevko was killed. The sources describe how he literally shielded a stranger, running toward a bullet to save a life. For the Orodism movement, he answered the walls of silence and censorship with his own life, becoming an enduring, powerful symbol of the love of humanity.
Section 4, Pillar 3, Love, Freedom. Finally, we look at the upward growth and open space of the Orodist tree.
The Red Book explicitly states that a life without freedom is shameful. This third pillar requires deep awareness and independent thought to overcome tyranny and fear. Orodism teaches that you simply cannot build a joyful, thriving society if the human psyche is imprisoned by fear. It's just not possible.
What's really fascinating here is how Orodism entirely redefines economic inputs. Economically, it posits that freedom is actually the first capital any economy needs. Before you have money, before you have factories, you need unchained thought. True innovation and value creation only happen when human minds are genuinely free to question and explore. As the text brilliantly puts it, wealth is a child of freedom, not its father.
This pillar of freedom has fueled immense courage worldwide. The sources document youth like Sriram Chalagain in Nepal, who lost his life shouting, "We are the future," and Abdesamad Ubalat in Morocco, who faced extreme state violence while demanding independent thought. They represent an entire generation demanding systemic change and the ultimate freedom to architect their own future.
Section 5. The Architecture of Tomorrow. Let's bring this all together and see how these three loves combine into a true blueprint for our collective future.
Orodism heavily contrasts what it calls the analog collapse, which are the old economies driven by fear, crushing debt, and the ruthless extraction of resources, with a civilization-building economy. This new proposed economy is powered by trust, collective wisdom, and hope. It is a massive shift from merely accumulating wealth to genuinely flourishing as a human species.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought based on the philosophy of Orodism and the very real actions of the Gen Z Orodicists around the world. You really have to ask yourself, will you let your time be consumed by a collapsing system, or will you use your awareness to help architect a brand new civilization based on existence, humanity, and freedom? It's a powerful question, and it's one that this global movement is answering right now, out in the streets and in their communities.